What up, friends? It's election day here in America, which means no more campaign ads, and that's good enough for me.
Oh, God.
Do you get those in Canada? I've always wanted to ask you this question. I never thought about it until this morning.
Yeah, we get them.
I
hear all the time.
So we have a Senate race happening here, and I absolutely love when the commercials play back to back. It's like Sherry Beasley, I'm here to fight for you and your kids. Next ad, Ted Budd. Sherry Beasley said she wants to fight your children. Good Lord. Just, can we be done with this, please? I'm going to run for mayor of Asheville, and my whole campaign is going to be, hey, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it gooder than that guy. Vote for me.
My favorite ads are, so-and-so hates humans. They also kill puppies. Paid for by some super PAC you've never heard of.
Yes, that has billions of dollars and also kills puppies.
How is this legally allowed to write? Your country is amazing to me sometimes.
Oh, I'm not going to lie. I live here, and it's amazing to me, too. I thoroughly love, I did not know this until today. I thought that they couldn't hand out campaign materials at the voting site. Apparently, there's a line they're not allowed to cross.
That's right, yeah.
So,
it's within a
one of their
number of feet.
I don't know who this person was, but they said, would you like the Democrat voting guide? And they handed it to me, and I went, sweet. I now know who not to vote for. Thank you. And I could totally see the look on their faces. They just went, that guy fucked my whole day up. Because I voted, and I did my thing, and that guy canceled me out.
Yeah, he said no thanks.
That sucks.
By the way, I accept your apology for completely destroying Battle of the Belt.
Yes.
Completely discounted my Kenny Walker play.
I am so shocked that you came back to beat the guy with Joe Mixon. I sent that into one of the fantasy shows on Fantasy Sports Radio.
I absolutely crushed. And I had guys that got hurt. Romeo Doubs was in my lineup. If I didn't play... So I was on the fence between Josh Palmer and Romeo Doubs in that spot. And I was like, I have Palmer and a bunch of other lineups. Maybe I'll just be a little contrarian and go Doubs here just for the sake of it. If I had played Palmer, it wouldn't even have been close. It would have been a dog walking.
You made the number one fatal flaw of Josh Palmer's season. You must play Josh Palmer.
Always play Josh Palmer.
Well, there was one piece of advice that I gave one time about 64 times last week. Hope you listened to that. And that was to play Justin Fields.
I did play Justin Fields.
Is there a worse NFL quarterback in the history of the NFL that is a more viable fantasy football asset?
That'll be a no.
I'm not sure I can disagree with you. I'm not sure that he is not the most viable fantasy football asset I've ever seen. That is just god-awful at real-life football.
There's a difference between, and I need to make sure I state this clearly, a good NFL quarterback, like real-life football, reading defenses, making throws, understanding pocket presence, knowing the playbook, and just being super athletic and running your ass off. And that's what Justin Fields is. Justin Fields can run for days.
He's fast as hell. And here's the thing. This is going to last for about the rest of this season.
Remember when the Wildcat was really big for like 7 weeks?
That is my exact comp to Justin Fields.
It's good until the defenses figure it out. You get enough tape on them and they'll start to figure out the reads. It's great for the next couple of weeks going into your playoff, though, because if you are a like Derek Carr owner or I don't know, Marcus Mariota, who's still only owned in 33% of leagues. He had some of that flash, but man, Justin Fields, holy, thank you for the points. Thanks for the points, Fields. Appreciate it.
Can I play Calvin Joyner said, didn't we say that about Hurts? Look, Jalen Hurts is playing an offense with weapons that I'm pretty sure I could throw to. Mine, one of the best offensive lines in the league.
Jalen Hurts is also in year 3.
Yeah.
And
he was an old rookie anyway.
Yeah. He's also been given every opportunity to succeed in this and figure this offense out. And then you add in a top flight wide receiver and a rookie wide receiver last year who has now come into his own. And all of a sudden you're running the ball with Miles Sanders. He doesn't need to do that anymore. Do you notice when Lamar in the first 4 weeks of the season was MVP Lamar. He was in the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
He was making the throws. It wasn't, oh, I've got to run.
We're in the NFL as it sits. You have to be able to beat somebody down the field. Now, the difference between Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields and a few others, Jalen Hurts can actually hurt you down the field because he's such a threat running the ball that you can never double-team A.J. Brown. And if you do, then Devontae Smith is single covered, and he's just pick and popping. It's a brilliant scheme. Now, is it going to work when he's making $45 million? That I'm not as sure of.
It rarely does. It rarely does.
But now for fantasy football things, it's nice.
Yeah, we like very much.
So
it's gross.
So let me ask you, what is your philosophy on Mr. Fields for the rest of the year?
I haven't looked at a ton. I haven't looked too far ahead. I know their next 3 weeks, I think he's a must start.
Yep.
And I think after that, it gets a little dicey.
Yep.
But the next 3 weeks specifically is he's a must start. He's going to get really chalky and real expensive on DraftKings.
He's 6,500 already on DraftKings against the Lions this week, and he's a damn near must play.
Yeah, it's going to get expensive and it's going to be chalk, but you have to play in season long. If you have him, which you should, if he was available at any point, you should have had him, because he's going to destroy. He killed me this week. I was done in my Armchair league. I was done by the end of the first game. My opponent was sending congratulations in a he was like, hey, good game. And I was like, I don't know, Taysom Hill, I guess, could put up 40. Wasn't happening. But after that 3 weeks, it gets dicey.
Yeah, after that 3 weeks, they play the Jets, the Packers, the Eagles, and the Bills.
I like one of those games.
I don't like any of them.
I like the Packers.
I don't.
They can't stop the run.
I don't at all.
They're ugly.
They are ugly. I don't disagree with that. So here's my philosophy on Justin Fields. He's a must-start this week. If you picked him up last week, you continue to play him this week. But there's a feller that's coming back a couple weeks from now, only 25% owned in leagues. So you could make one of those old little waiver claims, go get you some Deshaun Watson, and trade Justin Fields next week. You will lose the game against the Falcons. You won't have him for that, but he will have put up 2 ridiculous stat lines in a row, and there is no telling what you can get for him.
No.
And then you just slide in Deshaun Watson, who's going to have to throw, in case you haven't looked at their schedule, the good times of we don't play any good run defenses. That ends fast.
Yes.
That is my favorite streaming, because if you listen to me last week, you have Justin Fields, you're in good shape for this week. Go get Deshaun Watson, trade Justin Fields next week. And get a boatload, because people are stupid and they only look at game logs.
Yes.
That's it. They will see that he's had 2 good weeks in a row, had a half-ass week against the Cowboys, and they'll go, oh, he's a QB1, no doubt. Okay. Plays 3 of the 4 best defenses in the NFL in the playoff, in the meaty clackers weeks.
Yeah, no thank you.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see Justin Fields against that Jet defense.
There's a couple of quarterbacks that you should pick up, and Deshaun Watson is the first. I don't mind Garoppolo going forward either. Only 29% owned. I would have Deshaun Watson above him for sure. I also like Daniel Jones, who's still 42% owned. He's likely picked up. Watson is a must play, and there's no reason that he's not going to be. And I think you could probably get away with playing him naked if you were playing DFS, but it gets ugly. I like Garoppolo simply because the way that they're going to play is going to be a lot of dink and dunk with CMC. I get the ball to Ayuk, get the ball to Debo, and I think that that's going to play well for Jimmy because it's all going to be yak. Fantasy points don't care about yak unless you're in one of those weird leagues where it's only
air yards,
the actual completions. Yeah.
And those are rare. Where do you have, if you had to rank Jimmy Garoppolo rest of the season, where would it be? He has my second most favorable schedule in the league.
He's probably 14.
He's 15 for me. I have him one spot ahead of Derek Carr.
Yes.
Who I still believe could have a game eventually, but I'm really getting tired of waiting on it.
You and me and every Raiders fan.
Conversely, where do you have Deshaun Watson the rest of the season? Knowing damn well he's going to miss 2 of these games.
He's probably higher than that, probably 10.
He's 8, knowing he's not playing 2 of them.
Yeah, the 2 games hurts, but he's still going to be there. And I'm curious to see what happens in that offense.
I think they're going to get very pass happy with Mr. Deshaun Watson.
Oh, that means the Tank's going to get some DPJ love.
Oh yeah, that day's coming. Other streaming quarterbacks for this week. As you said, Daniel Jones still only 42% owned. He is a back-end QB1 for me.
Yeah.
Garoppolo, who you mentioned. Oh, sorry. I thought there was a sneeze coming there.
No, didn't quite make it.
You don't ever want to sneeze on camera. It's not a good look.
No.
Marcus Mariota. If you're in a 2-quarterback league, you could do worse.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time with Mariota lately. My concern with Mariota is that
they never throw ever.
Just doesn't do anything. It's like averaging like 15 or 20 throws or less a week. And that's not completions. That's total passes. So like, what do you do with that? How do you manufacture the offense like that? It's Cordero Patterson and, of course, Kyle Pitts will get some love and Tyler Algier, but everybody is also rushing. If they're running Algier and Patterson and Mariota's got some bootlegs, which he definitely will, it's almost 100% touchdown dependent. And I don't know how many touchdowns.
He is a totally touchdown dependent high-end QB2.
Yeah.
If you're playing in quarterback scoring is pretty much the same across the industry.
Yes.
Mariota's played in 9 games this year.
Mm-hmm.
How many times has he finished inside the top 10 among quarterbacks?
Once.
4. You know what all those weeks had in common?
Rushing touchdown?
Tutters.
Yeah.
He had them in all of them but 1. And he had 3 passing touchdowns in the one that he didn't have a rushing touchdown. For me, quarterback now is just really easy. If you've got the leverage play of Justin Fields, you use it. You use it for another week because he's going to beat the bejesus out of the Lions. Move off of it and just fill your roster. It doesn't matter what you get for him. You need guys that play in the playoffs. I mean, I'll give you an example. It's a league I talk about a lot. I have a ton of running backs. I drafted superbly well at running back. But my receivers aren't great. And I've been playing matchups with Christian Kirk, Curtis Samuel, and Wan'Dale Robinson. I am fully planning on making a move on Joe Mixon this week.
As you should.
I'm going to trade Joe Mixon this week. You mark my words, it's going to happen because my other running backs are Dameon Pierce, Miles Sanders, Raheem Mostert, and Kenny Walker.
Yep.
And it's a 2-quarterback league. I already have Kyler Murray, and I have Deshaun Watson coming back.
Yeah, you're set.
My most tradable asset is Joe Mixon, and I'm going to get a high-end wide receiver and whatever else I need for the playoffs. I'm set at quarterback. I know I'm good there. I know I'm good at running back. So receiver, tight end. I also have Darren Waller, who, okay, like just can you play eventually?
The most talented tight end to never touch a football. It's ridiculous.
We've not talked about him being traded to Green Bay twice. It hasn't happened, and I would love him just markedly more if he had.
Yeah, definitely.
If you notice our lovely new lower thirds here in the bottom, that'll tell you the order that we're going to go in. The Mullets mailbag questions, that's a term that we used long ago. There's not a mail thing that rhymes with Canadan, or it would be Canadan's mail sack, eh?
Yeah.
Just the way it worked
out. It goes sideways in a hurry. We'll workshop it. It'll workshop it.
We'll figure out something. So there's your streaming quarterbacks, which moves us on to your waiver wire targets of the week.
I am still confused as to why Wan'Dale Robinson is only 23% owned.
As am I, because he is the number 1 receiver in that offense. It's not all that close.
No.
And look, he's only had 2 games where he's had 1 game where he was good, 1 where he was barely playable. He's gonna have that game. He's going to have that game, and I have a funny feeling it's in one of the next 2 weeks. It's either Houston or Detroit.
Yep, absolutely.
And I think he is a high-end play for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, and it surprised me. I was shocked to see his ownership. Of course, I have him.
I do
picked
too.
him up because we told you about him 4 weeks ago as a must pick up, and it seems 23% of people have listened to us. The rest of us haven't.
If you had but one waiver pickup this week, is it Wandale?
I think it's Wandale. I'm curious your thoughts on Jeff Wilson Jr.
I knew that's who you were getting ready to ask me about.
And the only reason I'm asking is obviously Mostert was the guy there.
Yep.
And I say was because
I think still is, by the way.
I think it's going to get real splitty real quick in that offense. Obviously, they decided to part with basically the rest of the running back room, and they're going to give Wilson every opportunity, I think. Where are you on Wilson? Is he touchdown dependent? 48% owned, so
100% touchdown dependent. If you have Raheem Mostert, you need to have Jeff Wilson.
Go get your handcuff.
The league that I was talking about with Raheem Mostert, trading Joe Mixon, my goal is to get Jeff Wilson a number one wide receiver and maybe a kicker or something, a piece that I can use in the playoffs. I want to say the team that has Jeff Wilson has Justin Tucker too, and I think the idea was I was going to go Joe Mixon for Jeff Wilson, Justin Tucker, and I can't remember who they're saying. I think it's Jalen Waddle.
Nice, yeah,
and that is a doable deal for me.
Yeah,
I also
just
have
the one pickup. It's Wandale for me though.
For me, it's. Wandale is definitely one that I want because he has really good matchups the next 2 weeks. Rachaad White is one that needs to be owned.
I love Rachaad. Tell me that is not the last game with Tampa was not the transition game where Leonard Fournette is going to be riding off into the sunset and Rachaad White is the guy taking over that backfield.
It's getting more obvious, I think, by the week. I mean, his workload's gone up. His snap count's gone up.
He's getting more yards per carry.
He's just better. I mean, at the end of the day, he's just a better running back.
Yeah,
and I think it shows very obviously. I'm trying to get to the snap count chart. There it is. So over the last, we'll say, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, it's gotten closer and closer. And there was a hiccup in the road in week 8. I think it's very obvious to Tampa Bay that Rachaad White is the better of the two running backs. It's just a question now of you got to remember the real life game script here. Leonard Fournette's not in the plans moving forward.
No.
So if you think you're a playoff team, would you run Leonard Fournette into the ground and then supplement with Rachaad White?
Yeah.
He's a piece that so Rachaad White's a piece they're looking at for the future. Leonard Fournette is a for right now.
Yeah.
So Leonard Fournette's still going to have work. Now, the one caveat to that is if anything happened to Leonard Fournette, Rachaad White becomes a back-end RB2.
Yeah, real quick.
And Leonard has a decent enough history of injury that I'm not going to say you can count on it, but you're hedging your bets.
You can get close enough to it, I think. I like Rachaad White. I've said that he's someone you should be targeting anyway. Isaiah Pacheco's kind of in the similar kind of ilk.
I just need to see him do something.
That's the only thing you're waiting on. Kansas City is the new wave Patriots, where fantasy-wise, it's awful. You're never going to be able to plan your week around it outside of Mahomes and Kelsey. But you don't know who's going to get the carries. It's not going to be, if it's not Pacheco, it's someone else. If it's not MVS or Juju, it's, Sky Moore, someone randomly showing up, and Mecole Hardman, who's 42% owned. MVS is 47% owned. And to me, that tells me exactly why they're that percentage. I'd rather someone like Michael Gallup. I'd rather, target those guys. I'm not at DPJ yet.
No. The
Are
other
you-
one that needs to be Greg Dulcich.
Of course.
I mean, I am the tight end whisperer. Do you know what percent of dropbacks Greg Dulcich ran a route in week 8?
I don't. I have no
91 freaking percent. They never use him to block. He's basically a glorified wide receiver. This is Darren Waller all over again.
Yeah.
I absolutely love him. I have Greg Dulcich and Darren Waller in a league, and I can tell you right now the chances of Darren Waller playing another game for me this year are virtually zero.
There's a couple other tight ends that I'm curious where you're at on.
Okay.
Cade Otton obviously had the big kind of run there. Was that a flash in the pan, or is Tom going to start looking Cade's way with every other Buccaneer weapon basically wounded?
They like Cade Otton. I'm in like with him. I'm not in love with him. I would say rest of the year, I would have Cade Otton somewhere in a back end tight end 2.
Yeah.
I don't think I can go any higher than that, because at that spot, you're looking at Noah Fant, Bob Tunyon, Hayden Hurst, Cole Kmet, who had a big week last week, Isaiah Likely, who I think is going to be a piece of that offense, even with Mark Andrews back.
Yep.
So, I mean, for me, I don't mind him. You could do worse. He's just going to be very up and down, which is what you can expect out of a back-end tight end.
What are we doing about Tyler Conklin?
Look, I think the Jets tipped their hand on this is how we're going to play football. We went and got James Robinson because we believe he a dog, and he kind of is.
Yeah, he has dog-like tendencies.
Tyler Conklin was barely involved against Buffalo without Matt Milano, which should have suggested the targets would be there. They weren't. It was all Garrett Wilson. I'm going to be honest. I think at this point, the only 2 offensive weapons that are ownable for the Jets are Garrett Wilson and Michael Carter and James Robinson. I was kind of lumping the running backs into one guy there.
I think that's fair.
I don't want anything to do with Elijah Moore. Corey Davis, I feel like Garrett Wilson is passing him with every single week just because he is so damn good and it is so obvious.
Yeah.
I feel like anybody that understands the sport can see how good Garrett Wilson is, and I think now Zach Wilson's figured it out.
Yeah, if he stands still, he's got a legitimate top 7 wide receiver in the league waiting for him. He could be top 5 by the end of this.
He could be. He could be. He's that talented.
He's got the talent. It's just a matter of getting him there. The last guy is a guy who's had tight ends take so long to develop. And Noah Fant, I think we've been waiting to see something from, and finally we saw a little bit of it last week. 20% owned. Is Fant a fade for you? Or are you someone is he someone you're keeping an eye on? I don't think he's going to be gobbled up anywhere.
I'm keeping an eye on it. I'm not jumping up and down about it. He will have weeks like that. He's still a talented player.
Absolutely.
It's just a lot of mouths to feed in it's not a conservative offense, but it's a Kenny Walker offense.
It's a Kenny Walker offense.
So, I mean, that's the piece I want. I don't think you can sustain 3 passing targets in that offense. There will be weeks, but there will be Will Dissly weeks too. There will be weeks where Kenny Walker catches some passes, and then obviously there'll be Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf weeks.
Yes.
I just feel like Greg Dulcich is too readily available for me to jump 100%. Up and down and say Noah Fant.
No, Greg Dulcich is the play at 32% owned. I don't know how you don't have him already. If you don't, go get him now.
All right, so
Kelsey or Kittle, go get him.
All right, so we've got a slew of questions here. So
all right,
we're going to jump in line just a little bit into the mailbag.
All right,
rapid fire, answering some questions. Yep. DJ DuVernay, he started us off with a few queries.
Mm-hmm.
Full PPR, need to trade for a tight end to help me destroy the playoffs. Got Lamar, Barkley, Etienne, Diggs. I don't think you need to trade for a tight end.
No, you don't.
Good Jesus, that team's good. Bunch of
who
would you be looking to go? Who would you be looking to pursue? And what are you selling on this team? I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not selling anything on this team. Because he's got Wandale. He's got Deontay Foreman on his bench. He's got David Montgomery on his bench. If I was going to move anybody.
Kadarius Toney?
Kadarius Toney, I would move him for a bag of balls, but I don't think he's worth anything. If somebody was desperate running back, I could try to make a move on David Montgomery because I feel like Khalil Herbert has overtaken him.
Yeah.
And it's still a split, and it's still going to be bootsy, and it's still going to be annoying. But other than that, I wouldn't worry about it because he's got Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
if somebody has Greg Dulcich or he's readily available, do that. Other than that, I wouldn't worry about it. That team is good. That team has got a great playoff schedule. I think you're good there.
Yeah, I think so.
Jonna said thanks to us, he picked up Justin Fields, won the week. Let's go.
Boy,
nice move. Jonna asked, is there a reason to use my number one waiver pick on Kenny Gainwell, Tyler Algier, Chris Moore, Cole Kmet, or Jerick McKinnon?
No.
I would agree. If I had to pursue one of them, it'd be Tyler Algier. It tells me a lot that he still got tote, but it was still a split.
Yeah, I don't like any of those other options long term.
I don't either. Kmet would be 2, but it's a distant 2. I don't trust any pass catcher with a quarterback that can't throw.
No, he's going to run for 200 yards, and that's your fantasy points right there.
Let's see. Matthew Hoffman said he dropped Jared Goff for Justin Fields. Who would have ever thought we would be the show screaming about Justin Fields the week before he goes Niners?
I would have, because we're smart.
You're not wrong.
There
was part of me, I had a lineup that was really good in the Millionaire. And this was before Joe Mixon. Not before. It was when I thought, hey, somebody else could have a really good game and mitigate the fact I don't have Joe Mixon. I was sitting idly by going, the best finish I will have ever had in the Millionaire is going to have Justin Fields as the fucking quarterback. Which kind of makes me want to die.
Yeah.
But that's fantasy football for you. You can't take your hatred in with you. Just score points. That's all that matters.
That's right.
Hoffman asked Foreman or Jamal Williams. Flex spot rest of the season.
I think it's Jamal Williams.
I think it's Deontay Foreman because look, the healthier DeAndre Swift gets, the less Jamal Williams you're going to see. And I don't think it will be. That's exactly where I was headed. His bones are made of glass. I don't think you can go wrong either way. I mean, rest of season. Let me pull up my rest of season rankings here.
I will say that both of those teams will likely be behind a lot.
A lot.
So
which is not as big of a negative for Jamal Williams as you might think.
Correct.
Oh, shit. Let's see. Rest of season, I have Deontay Foreman 5 spots ahead of Jamal Williams. Solely because there's not another running back to challenge him. I mean, Carolina's going to be behind a lot. He's the pass-catching back. Chuba Hubbard couldn't block me. That's sheer volume, not necessarily how good I think the player is.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let's see. Alex S. said, what type of player should you throw the moon at? Now, I'm assuming this is if your team is really good, you have discernible assets that you can burn. Who are you setting on fire to go get?
That's interesting.
So basically that is that's a nice segue into a segment we skipped, which is buy, sell, or hold.
Yeah.
We will resume questions after we get our buy, sell, hold things out there. Your number one buy this week is, mine's going to sound really familiar because I've said it about 9 times.
My number one buy this week is Wandale.
Wandale's high for me. He's in my top 5 of guys that I've held him for 3 weeks just to get to these 2.
Yep.
And I absolutely love it. My number one buy, also a receiver that wears blue, it's Monter St. Brown. I keep saying this, and then he doesn't appear on any of the trade lists, and I don't understand that. I do not get how people aren't seeing this. He's had a 38 and a 35% target share in the last 2 weeks. They're going to be behind. I understand they were ahead of Green Bay, and the production was not necessarily there. 4 catches, 55 yards. I get that. You do get this team blows dead bears, right?
They're awful.
A lot of people don't seem to understand that because they just won a game. That, they've turned the corner and they're not going to be behind and I want all the run. No, they're awful. Genuinely horror awful. And they're going to score a lot of points.
He's so good.
Oh, he a dog.
And all they do is throw the ball.
Hey, since we live in a world with Jim Irsay, who apparently just hires media members to do shit, call me. Hey, bruh. You know that you know how you don't have a receiver, bruh? If you had me on your staff, you would, because it'd be Amon St. Brown. Because I would have taken your booger sugar and threatened to kill you until you drafted him.
Yeah.
I'd have broken every mirror in that building so you couldn't use none of them.
I love Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra's a great buy. I think he's like the top 15 wide receiver rest of season.
Oh, no doubt. I'll do you one better. Rest of season. Would you like to hear how many wide receivers I have ahead of Amon St. Brown? Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill,
5.
Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins, A.J. Brown, end of message, repeat the line.
Yeah.
And you can get him right now for wide receiver 2 value. I don't know how many times I have to say this, and yet every week when people send in lineup questions to me, I never see Amon St. Brown's name. I'm in leagues where guys are literally just giving him to me. That Joe Mixon deal, I promise you, because I am fat and sassy on Joe Mixon. Any league I don't have Amon-Ra in, I'm fitting to. At the expense of one Mr. Joel Edward Mixon. I have no idea if that's actually his middle name.
It is now.
It's politics day. It sounds like a politician's name.
That's fantasy, baby.
Anybody else that you're really adamantly trying to buy?
Jalen Waddle is on my list, but I don't know if you're going to get him for cheap. I'm interested to see.
Is there a more annoying dance in the history of the NFL than the Waddle?
No.
Even the gritty?
No, I don't mind the gritty.
Oh, I hate the gritty. Especially when people that look like me do it. Like Kirk Cousins, stop that. Mike Gesicki, stop that. You have no rhythm whatsoever. Do not gritty. You need to ditty. You need to do that little dance that Peyton Manning was doing on Monday Night Football last night. Just do.
What? 2 things. One, there is nothing more cringe than watching Shefty topless trying to do the same Kirk Cousin dance.
Yeah,
that was
bad
thing on TV I've ever seen. 2, buy Amari Cooper.
100%. Amari Cooper's a buy for me as well.
Buy Amari Cooper yesterday.
Amari Cooper's a buy for me, and Nick Chubb's a sell for me.
Yes.
I would be trying to sell Nick Chubb because I'm telling you, when his quarterback doesn't blow dead bears, he will see the ball less. It'll still be a lot, but you can get number 1 running back in fantasy football value for him right now.
Sure.
And
very
get high.
Easily.
Look, there are different apps where I can see trades that have been made across different platforms. I saw somebody that had traded Nick Chubb for Dameon Pierce and Amon St. Brown, and I went, that guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah, it's an excellent deal.
Because that is tits.
Yeah.
Anybody you're adamantly trying to sell this week other than Joe Mixon, which I feel like is so obvious that I can't believe I've said it as many times as I have. I want to say Leonard Fournette just because it's abundantly clear, but I'm not sure what you're going to get for him.
I'm going to say something and people are going to think I'm nuts. I'm selling Cooper Kupp.
I get it.
I'm selling Cooper Kupp. And I said this on my my Twitter live. You and I have said it many times. Empty calories, for sure. Is he going to produce? Yes. Can I get a wide receiver 1 and a running back for Cooper Kupp right now? Yeah. Someone will bite the bullet. Someone wants Cooper Kupp.
Well, here's the thing. All right, Cooper Kupp's played 8 games this year. He's been a wide receiver 1 5 times.
Yeah.
Or he's been, actually, I said that wrong. He's been in the top. That's in standard. Sorry. Don't know why that defaults to standard.
I hate it.
In PPR, he has been a top 8 receiver 6 of his 8 weeks. In the two that he hasn't even been a wide receiver one. If you look at that schedule, there are some daunting-ass matchups going down the stretch.
It's bad.
And there's just nothing else there. I mean, we're to a point with the Rams where you could triple cover Cooper Kupp, and the hell with everything else. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in 5 at Matthew Stafford on every play. I'll double bracket Cooper Kupp, and he's just not going to beat me.
Yeah, I'm selling Cooper Kupp, and to me, it's a value play. It's a value prop. That schedule lines up poorly, and people will buy Cooper Kupp. Don't buy Cooper Kupp if you're listening to the show. I'm looking at the stream right now, so all of you listening, all you wonderful people that come in the morning and listen to us, don't buy Cooper Kupp. You're going to get offered that trade. Don't take it.
Aaron Jones, another one.
I absolutely.
I need away from that.
Jones.
Last week was a kill spot, and I understand he got hurt. He wasn't good before he got hurt.
That team is in trouble. No Rashawn Gary. Jones is probably banged out. I think they said he's going to go this week, but I don't know what that looks like. Dylan had more carries, did nothing. Aaron is throwing to the Christian Watson that's left.
Sammy Watkins, Lazard. Christian Watson was hurt last week. Now Dubs is hurt.
Yeah. I'm selling anything that's Green Bay Packer.
If it has a green G on his helmet, I'm out.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
That moves us into streaming defenses for the week. We get asked this question a lot.
No holds?
Not really. I mean, it's the same guys I'm going to say because I wax poetic about them all the time. Amon-Ra would be a hold. OBJ's a hold. Because he's headed somewhere, and I have a funny feeling it's the Dallas Cowboys.
I also have a funny feeling it's the Dallas Cowboys, and I think that it's going to kill the Cowboys, but be great for fantasy.
Agreed. I think it would be. I mean, Odell Beckham Jr. or CeeDee Lamb, who's their one?
Probably Lamb by a smidge, but I don't know if it's close.
I think it's a 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
And then everybody else is completely irrelevant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who is your favorite streaming defense of the week?
Seattle Seahawks.
The Sea Chickens?
I like the Sea Chickens. I don't hate. God, this is gonna sound nuts. I don't hate the Titans at all.
You shouldn't hate the Titans. That's as premier matchup as you can have. Yeah, the Titans were actually going to be my answer.
Yeah, Titans they're in a great spot there.
The Titans are a high-end answer to me. The Rams, if somebody has tapped out, which I would totally get if they have. And this one's going to sound a little weird. The Pittsburgh Steelers. New Orleans is awful. I mean, genuinely god-awful. If I didn't know any better, I would think Andy Dalton had money against New Orleans. And how he's still in games, I have no idea. I wouldn't care if you went to Jameis Winston. I wouldn't care if you went to Taysom Hill. I wouldn't care if you begged Drew Brees to come out of the broadcast booth. I don't care who plays quarterback. As long as it's not Ginger Jesus, I don't care.
How is he still playing?
I have
right now
absolutely no idea.
No idea. No, it makes no sense.
One more that I do kind of like this week, the Las Vegas Raiders against a team that doesn't know their offense. They have a head coach who is not familiar with their offense.
He's not familiar with coaching.
No, and I'll be honest with you, I don't care that he's not familiar with coaching. It really bothers me he's not familiar with the playbook.
They don't have an OC.
Have you heard the latest rumor around Indianapolis?
No.
They're going to ask Matt Ryan to call plays. So the guy you just benched at the owner's behest, allegedly, you're now going to ask that guy to come back in and call his own plays? Holy shit, that is dysfunctional.
Why didn't they just let Ryan go? Like, why didn't they, like, someone must have called and been like, can we have Matt Ryan? And they're like, no.
Oh, no, the money would preclude that.
Future offensive coordinator.
Oh, no, the money would preclude that. I mean, he has no value at this point, but he's better than Sam Ehlinger.
He's better than Sam Ehlinger. It's not. At first I was wondering if this was Ryan being done, but turns out that offensive line doesn't exist. They might as well put garbage cans out there.
Oh, yeah.
Pylons.
Which is crazy because it's a talented line, but man, last night did not go well.
Expensive line.
Last night did not go well. All right, rapid fire on some questions before we get out of here.
Yep.
The last one we did. Oh, there we go. Chris D. Trust the Cardinals defense. I don't. I just don't think they're good.
No.
This week I have the Cardinals. I mean, they're a back end. They are a playable defense. I just think you could do better. I would rather go Pittsburgh Steelers this week. I'd rather go Rams, Titans, and then all the ones that, we talk about every week.
Yes.
Let's see. Add Njoku and DPJ if you can. Drop Hurst and B-Rob. Hurst, no. B-Rob, yes. Brian Robinson's completely irrelevant.
He's not good at football. Stop it.
No,
Stop.
And I'll be honest with you, I'm low-key buying Antonio Gibson. Because that team's better than we think they are, and at some point they're going to figure out, Brian Robinson got shot, but he still sucks.
Getting shot doesn't make you a good football player.
Nope.
Gets you lots of street cred, not good at football.
Yep, doesn't mean jack shit for how good you are at football, and he is not. Alex S., Dak or Jones?
Jones.
Rest of season, I agree with you. This week, I don't. I could see this being just a huge Saquon day. Houston can't stop the run at all.
That is completely fair. I have the feeling that Jones is still. Dak is the problem here for me. They just don't go. If they're sticking with the game plan that's got them victories so far, it's not pass happy.
It's not pass happy, but I do think they are going to kick the shit out of Green Bay.
Yes.
This is a Mike McCarthy revenge game, and I don't typically buy into narratives.
This one I do.
Yeah. Matthew Hoffman, does the wide receiver value in Cleveland go up like that? Yes. Yep. Everyone. And somebody, and I'll throw your name out there whenever I get back to the question. I saw it as I was scrolling. What would you give up for Amari Cooper?
Wide receiver 1.
Amari Cooper could be a piece in that Joe Mixon deal I was talking about.
Yep.
I would need another high-end piece.
Yes.
But, I mean, he's been good with Jacoby Brissett. What do you think he's going to do with Deshaun Watson?
Yeah.
And then I like Njoku and a little uptick in Kareem Hunt, but don't go crazy on it. Alex, is Pitts droppable for Greg Dulcich?
Almost.
It's close.
It is.
We know Pitts has the upside. The problem is they just never throw.
Yeah.
But now my question would be, what happens if they turn to Desmond Ridder? Let's say things just go completely off the rails and they try and they. I can't drop Kyle Pitts. I feel like there is another strategy there, but there is a way, and we'll get to that in the last little icon here on the screen.
Absolutely.
But I do want Greg Dulcich on my team, and I would be starting him over Kyle Pitts right now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Wide receivers killing me. Have Debo and Amon-Ra. Who should I target to replace? Nobody. You should go roll with those two. Those are two of my favorite buys for the rest of the year.
What do you mean you're killed at receiver?
Well, there's been hurt, and Amon-Ra hadn't been good for a couple weeks. That's not killed at receiver. I'm in a league where I played Darius Slayton last week. I'm in a league where I played Deshaun Jackson. That's in a dynasty, and I had a lot of guys on bye.
Do you want to hear my Hall of Reprehensibles bench? Irv Smith, IR. Mark Andrews, out. Rashad Bateman, IR. Devontae Parker, out. Keenan Allen, out. Don't talk to me about killed at receiver.
Oh,
get out of here.
Oh, that is killed. That's actually a definition of killed.
Yeah. I started Mecole Hardman, though. He got me 19 points, so booyah.
But yeah, with Debo, Matthew Hoffman said he had the same combo. You're fine with Amon-Ra and Debo. Just give it RLAX.
Yeah.
You have to remember, do you remember how good Amon St. Brown was before he got hurt? He's still that same guy.
Yeah, he is.
He also said he has DK Wilson and Scary Terry. That is not killed at wide receiver.
You're fine.
I must state that again for the record. That is not killed at wide receiver.
Don't forget, you can still take an L and win the season.
That's
just start the right guys.
Where's my damn bell? Somebody has moved my bell.
You don't need to, like, everybody's always, you don't need to go undefeated. You're not the 72 Dolphins.
Nope.
Stop it.
And
Just
it
win
does
the league.
absolutely nothing for you. But that's what we're going to get to in the last segment there. Rapid fire. Matthew Altman said, I have Pittman, Olave, Wandale, Josh Palmer. You're not killed at receiver either.
No.
That sounds very, very good to me. Kevin, the PRF, do I consider Mecole Hardman a full-time start over Jerry Jeudy? I would not.
No. It was a great week.
He has great weeks. And I'll be honest with you, the chances of him having two back-to-back are very small because it almost never happens.
Yep.
I would still roll Jerry Jeudy. I think Denver, I'm not going to say they turn a corner. I just think Jerry Judy's, he's another one that I'm low-key buying. I'm not giving it much, but I would low-key buy.
They figured something out there. I don't know what it is yet, but they figured something out.
Jeff Johnson, that's a new name. We're like an AA meeting for sports. Welcome in. Feel free to comment your drug of choice. Mine has always been Devontae Parker. Is offering Judy Palmer and Deontay Foreman for Waddle a decent offer? I think it's a decent starting point. I can't tell he's going to take it.
That's probably a good offer.
I mean, it's not one of those that we're going to make fun of.
No.
But I will tell you, we're planning on doing another of these shows weekly. And a new segment that I want to play is, what is the worst trade offer you got this week?
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, it is some doozies.
Some
doozies.
I've had some good ones.
My Twitter inbox has a bunch.
Excellent.
I love it when they're offered from the person that sent it to me. Like, is this fair? Nope.
Not even a little bit.
Nope. Now, if they take it, then it was fair to them. And they are stupid. Guy has Thielen, Sutton, A.J. Dillon to start lineup, so I feel it helps him all around. No, it's not a low ball offer. It's actually a good offer. I mean, I think it's formidable.
That's a good offer.
He also followed it up with his team is Geno, Saquon, Eckler, Patterson, Foreman, Amonra, Lazard, Kelsey, Judy, Palmer, Pickens. I feel I need to get better at wide receiver, but don't think I get rid of running backs. Yeah, don't ever get rid of running backs. He's 7-2.
Yeah, you're good.
Stick around for the last segment of the show. I'm going to give you a philosophy that I'm personally going to. I've coined the name, come up with a catchy little jingle. I'm going to make it a thing. Alex asks, would you drop Najee for? I'm going to assume that's James Robinson. I wouldn't drop him outright.
Yes.
I can't drop him outright.
I traded Najee for Lockett and Eno Benjamin, who I'm turning into something else.
And that's fine. Rest of the season, I feel like Najee's going to have a game at some point where he burns people that have just tapped on him.
He absolutely is. But not for me.
But not for, it's going to be a no from me, dog.
Not for
His
me.
schedule's middling the rest of the year. He's a back-end RB2.
Yep.
That's going to make you want to pull your hair out.
Yes.
Is it Soaring Eagle? Is it time to bench Herbert for either Tua or Fields? Fields, yes, for the next 2 weeks.
Yes. Herbert's still fine.
Absolutely.
Herbert's going to make the playoffs.
Soaring Eagle, you're the definition of the person I was talking about earlier, that you start Justin Fields for the next week, then you trade him, parlay him into a bounty, and laugh hysterically because the person you traded him to does not realize he plays 3 of the 4 best defenses in the NFL in the playoff weeks. And then he gets the Detroit Lions again. But
all part of the plan.
Sometimes you add assets just to trade them into more shit.
Mm-hmm.
Is Pollard worth a buy?
Sorta.
I kind of think so. I feel like his role's pretty locked in.
Yep.
But I also feel like they're going to be in more competitive games than they have been.
He's going to get 15 touches a game.
Roughly, yeah. It's about right.
And what he does with those will determine whether it's worth it or not.
Bingo. He also asked
20 yards or not.
He also asked, what would you need to buy Cooper, which we answered. Sell Aaron Jones.
Yes.
Answered that as well. Kevin PRF asked, bye week defense pick up the Raiders. I'm good with that because their coach doesn't know the offense.
Mm-hmm.
Rich Vitale, what's your thoughts on Josh McDaniels? I think there is a sheer possibility that he is a one and done with the Raiders. Everything I've heard is Mark Davis is already regretting that he did this.
Yeah, I wonder. I'm surprised that he came out outright and said, this is our coach. He's going to be our coach. I don't know if I would have given him a ringing endorsement right away. I probably would have played it out, but we'll see what happens.
And then he followed up with, if the Raiders lose this week, they're tanking. I would agree. It would be time to do that. Mackie and D said we need a little more volume on your mic. He's got a new microphone, so we're tinkering with that to where I don't blow your earlobes out.
Yeah.
When Tank is here, that is much easier to adjust. It's on the other side of the table. So he and I have a sound check beforehand, and then we kind of have to roll with what we got.
I'll try to talk a little more directly into it, Mac. See if that helps.
Is Kittle for Waddle a good deal?
If you have tight ends to trade, sure.
I would agree. I mean, I think Kittle, I like second half of season. Jalen Waddle, I like second half of season. I think it's fair on both sides.
Yeah.
Damian Pierce and Madison for Amonra and Gabe Davis. I like both sides of that too, especially if you have Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, definitely.
If you have Dalvin Cook, that's a win. If not, that might be a little rich for Damian Pierce, but not by much. And then the last question of the day, Alex S., would you do Najee for Wan'Dale Robinson?
Would I do it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean...
You want to say yes, and I know you do.
I do, but Wan'Dale's free.
Largely,
like
yes.
So many leagues, he's free. So I have a hard time saying that I would do it. Probably not.
It's probably a little rich for my blood, but add another player to that, we could definitely talk.
Yeah, definitely.
And now is the part of the show where I give you Matthew Hoffman had one more at the very last second here. Foreman and Pittman for Pierce and Curtis Samuel. I would want the Pierce Curtis Samuel side of that.
I was going to say Curtis Samuel.
Dog.
Every week start him. And in DFS, they've forgotten about him.
Yeah, his price never goes up.
His price is the same every week, and he gives you the same production every week, and I don't get it, because anyone else that does that would be like,
it's almost like it's almost like he's a glitch in the algorithm or something. And I've never quite figured out how the algorithm works. I've gotten close, but
I love the Pierce Samuel side of that.
I do too, and I would do it in a heartbeat. I mean, I would do that in a freaking heartbeat.
Yeah.
Now we are to the part of the show where I give you a patented Jeremy Greene theory. This is called Kick the Kicker. I do not know why this does not gain traction in fantasy football circles, but I'm gonna spin you a little yarn about a team of mine. I obviously do a fantasy football show on Sundays that leads right up to kickoff. Well, my dumbass forgot to take out Darren Waller. And this is a very large money league. But I have held Deshaun Watson on my bench. I'm stacked at running back. I now have Darren Waller, Greg Dulcich, and Isaiah Likely, who I picked up this week. I picked him up to play instead of Darren Waller and then forgot to take him out. But I haven't played a kicker in 3 weeks. Kick the kicker. If you need one, just earmark one after the 1 o'clock games. Look at a guy that you're willing to sacrifice. This is a 2-quarterback league. Mine's been Davis Mills forever because I can't get anything for him, but you can't just really outright cut quarterbacks in that league. If you cut the player on Sunday, they're going to run through waivers. Nobody else is going to have a crack at them. So if you have a high waiver priority and you have managed that well, you can just go get them back. But you only drop the player if you need the kicker. This week, I didn't. I won by 60 anyway, and I benched Joe Mixon. I can't believe I didn't open with that. I benched Joe freaking Mixon. And still won by 60. Kick the kicker. They are worth nothing.
I think it's important to remember, and we tell you this, so I know that Sunday fantasy show because I'm also part of that Sunday fantasy show, and we give you bangers. We also did a lot of preseason work and had some shows out, and you've given out this piece of info plenty of times. The difference in points from the kicker versus everybody else is basically negligible outside of one guy. And unless you've got that guy and you're willing to sacrifice another part of your roster, it is stupid. I just picked up kickers, no problem. I'll pick them up off waivers.
Do you know there are 4 kickers in the NFL that have averaged 10 points a game? Can you name those 4 kickers?
Justin Tucker?
That is one.
McPherson?
McPherson he's low down the list.
God damn it.
McPherson's at 7.5.
Brett Maher?
He's close.
I have no idea. Is he?
It's Justin Tucker, Jason Myers, Daniel Carlson, and Matthew Wright.
Yeah.
Do you know who Matthew Wright is?
No.
He kicked 2 weeks for the Chiefs. That proves everything I have been saying for all these years. It doesn't matter who the kicker is. It matters who the team is. Because Matthew Wright is not in the NFL. He's the 4th highest scoring kicker in fantasy football on a per-game basis.
Kick the kicker.
Now, I said 4 kickers have scored 10 points a game or more. How many do you think have scored 8 or more?
6.
20. There are 20 kickers in this league that are 2 points difference. And you're worried about a stupid kick. Cut the kicker every friggin' week. Cut him every week and figure it the fuck out. It doesn't matter. I don't care if it's Justin Tucker. I don't care if it's Jason Myers. I've cut Jason Myers in 10 leagues because I had him early. I don't care. Go pick up a valuable asset. And you know what? If you get to Sunday and that asset's more valuable than having a kicker on your roster, don't fucking play one.
Just don't play him.
Ta-da!
Surprise. Yeah, it's nonsense. Kickers suck. They're not.
You shouldn't be in leagues with kickers, but I understand that a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's a purist. Kickers matter." No, they don't. But no, they treat them like what they are. They're completely irrelevant. Pick one up every week. If you have to, and the way I usually do this, I go into inactives. I wait for somebody to be inactive, and I put that guy on IR. Then I pick up a kicker. If nobody goes on IR, there's nobody I want to drop. Don't play a damn kicker. Beat people by more than 10 points. I do it on a regular basis.
It's not all that complicated.
It's really not. You know what else is not complicated? Fantasy football. And just, burning an hour with the people in midday with the Canada and the Mullet Man.
Don't forget to hit that like, smash that subscribe button if you already haven't. Super close to the 3K number. And
we're getting there.
We're right there. Contest for link for the Battle of the Belt, which I am your first two-time champion. You might want to listen to us. We actually have I give you plays. I don't have.
He's the first two-time champion, and I'm the leading scorer, and I haven't even won a week yet.
We bring you those things. If you want to get your questions to us outside of game time, make sure to join the House of Reprehensibles.
If you're a member of the house, join the Discord. We have a lot of fun in there. You can directly ask us questions there. We're in it all the time, and sometimes you get Jeremy 17 domestic lights playing trivia, like tonight.
It's a good time.
Tuesday's trivia night. And I'm a ringer, and they buy my beers because I never miss sports questions. We got a couple on the way out. Alex S., Mark Andrews trade value. Don't trade him. Keep him.
Yeah.
The tight end is way too bootsy. You're going into just a purgatory over one week injury. Just hold Mark Andrews. And he said, I have Greg Dulcich. You can play them both. And I'll be honest with you, even if you can't play them both, even if you only have one tight end spot, the fact that you have him and nobody else does gives you even more of an advantage.
That is called leverage.
That's using a DFS mantra for your season long. Don't make other teams better at tight end. There are only like 6 of them you can trust in the league, and if you have 2, it means you have a huge advantage over the rest of your league every single week. Tyler Cunningham said, I don't know who I hate more, Dennis Allen or Andy Dalton. Both of them.
Yep.
Tony HGH, how about Tyler Higbee? I've got Waller, Higbee, and likely want to pick up Fant or Otten and drop Higbee. I wouldn't. In that, you have a high upside, you have a low floor, and you have a safe. You can play matchups. That's aggressive to me at tight end. That's just a lot, and I would not drop Higbee for Fant or Otten. And last question from ZA on the way out. Diggs and Jeff Wilson for Kamara and CD. I give Diggs my other receiver is Tyreek Hill. Sorry, sometimes I don't read so good. So let me do that again. Stephon Diggs, Jeff Wilson for Alvin Kamara, CD Lamb. He would be giving Diggs, so he would get Kamara and CD.
Yeah, I like the CD and Kamara side.
I do too, a lot. And then Tony HGH on the way out.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Lovely super chat and just said, I want to thank y'all. We want to thank you. Because frankly, if it wasn't for you guys, we'd just be sitting here talking to each other doing the same shit. It's kind of the beauty of what we do.
Do it anyway.
Absolutely. He's the Canadian David Smith. I'm the mullet man, Jeremy Greene. I'll be back at 3 o'clock, Power Rankings Day, and we've got a little political twist on today that I think is going to lead to some funnies. And I say that because I wrote them. Political twist on a non-political show. We'll be back later in the week. Mock draft tomorrow before the show. All the ESPN shows, and we'll be here live Sunday, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time for Fantasy Game Time Decisions kickoff show. Dave, always a good time. Have a good day, my friend.
Appreciate everybody.
And we'll talk. We shall talk soon.